Hey everyone, I'm Joe from Open Stance. Now, before we get into it, if you're new here, please take a second, hit that subscribe button. It hugely helps the channel, and it means you won't miss out on any of the reviews or any of the vlogs that I've got coming out on a weekly basis now that golf has returned. If you're not new here, welcome back. It's good to see you. Now, this video is all about these. The 2021 FootJoy HyperFlex golf shoe. Now, there have been previous iterations of the HyperFlex back in 2015, I think, but they have no real connection to this shoe other than in name. This is a standalone shoe for 2021, and it's a pretty good one. So as a really quick overview, this HyperFlex golf shoe is a fully spiked golf shoe. It comes in two kind of versions. You've got the boa or the laced, and within that you can get them in, so the boa comes in red and grey, so this option, or completely black, which is, it looks pretty good. And then the lace option comes in either grey or like a blue, kind of a mid blue, which again, they both look pretty good. And price wise, the lace version is $129.99 and the boa version is $149.99. So not cheap, but probably about where you would expect given the type of shoe that it is. So jumping into first impressions, FootJoy have a bit of a history of bringing out maybe one or two shoes each year which don't necessarily fit with the traditional styling that FootJoy has become so well known for. These are definitely one of those shoes, and as a result the design kind of divides opinion. You know, some people really like it and some people aren't so keen, but ultimately what you can't argue is that there is a huge demand these days for that more kind of athletic trainer style golf shoe, and I think that fits that bill pretty well. Now obviously there are a couple of things that stand out on the shoe pretty much straight away. You've got this funky boa system, and then you've also got this really soft, flexible upper layer. Overall, I think it's a pretty eye-catching shoe. It, like I say, fits into that quite athletic style a bit more readily than previous offerings from FootJoy, and ultimately, I don't think it's a bad-looking shoe. So as usual with FootJoy shoes, there's quite a bit going on under the hood. So let's kind of dive into the tech specs of the shoe. So first of all, we have the strap. This is what FootJoy are calling their rapid fit technology. So what it is the boa system and this kind of asymmetrical configuration of the lacing, which you've got going on up here, which is supposed to basically reduce the pressure on top of your foot, but still make sure that your foot is secure in the shoe, and it's even like slightly ribbed on top here to create a bit more friction, so that boa strap and the system doesn't slip, so it adds that extra bit of security. This style of boa isn't particularly new to the industry, but the way that FootJoy have developed it is slightly different, and I would be surprised if we didn't see it on more FootJoy shoes in the future. Next up we have that sole. So it looks quite chunky, but it's supposed to act as a shock absorber to, as FootJoy say, minimise fatigue when you're walking. We then turn our attentions to the bottom of the shoe. This is what FootJoy are calling their HyperFlex outsole. This is a direct quote about the HyperFlex outsole from the website. It serpentines throughout the length of your foot to flex naturally with each step and add additional torsion control through your swing. Now I don't know about that, but it's definitely a good outsole and it provides great grip. And then finally we have this technical mesh upper. So it's a mesh lining which makes it breathable, flexible, incredibly flexible, and then it's coated in a waterproof membrane to make it 100% waterproof. All of this adds up to a shoe which is incredibly comfortable, very breathable, very flexible, but also surprisingly secure and supportive. I say surprisingly because generally to get that level of flexibility and breathability in a shoe, you do have to give up a certain amount of support. But that boa system that they've created really straps in and envelops your foot. So it adds an incredible level of support and stability. So ultimately it kind of feels like you're wearing a sock, which you're really, really well strapped into. It's incredibly comfortable. And like I say, surprisingly supportive. I should also mention that this elastic kind of sock style heel support actually belies what is a very supportive and quite sturdy and rigid heel. Just something to note. Now, I've worn these on the course a fair few times now, in varying conditions, which has been quite useful. And I've said it before, they are incredibly comfortable, and I will completely stand by that. My only caveat to that is I do feel like they fit maybe a little bit bigger than normal. I mean, I'm probably half a size out with these, so that's something to look out for. I'm also aware that people have had issues with rubbing on the heel when they've been wearing these shoes. I haven't personally experienced that. It might be because they are slightly bigger than I would generally go for, so they're not quite as snug as maybe they could be, but again, it's probably something to look out for. Like I say, I haven't experienced that, but I know that some people have. I would add to that, you know, they are a FootJoy shoe. At the end of the day, you would expect nothing but ultimate comfort and extreme performance from these shoes, because they are the #1 shoe brand in golf. And again, you're paying a premium price for these shoes, so you would expect them to be as advertised and that good. So I've managed to get out in these in both, you know, warm, dry, bone dry days, and also in some quite wet conditions. With the warm days, I was really surprised by how well ventilated and how breathable they were, given their waterproofing. And then to contrast that, on those wet rounds, I was kind of expecting them to just give a little bit because of how well ventilated and how breathable they were in the warm conditions. But there was absolutely nothing. I played a couple of rounds in quite wet conditions, and my feet both times came out absolutely bone dry. I was really impressed. So final thoughts, it's an incredibly good shoe. Having now tested them pretty thoroughly now, I can say confidently that they are incredibly supportive, outstandingly comfortable. Waterproofing on them is absolutely fantastic, and the breathability on them is also exceptional. All round, they are an incredibly good shoe. But again, they're a FootJoy shoe. I'd kind of expect nothing less. I think it's a Marmite shoe. There's no two ways about it. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I am probably more in the love it camp. I'm not besotted with it, but I love what it represents and where FootJoy are taking things. But equally, I can understand why people may see it as maybe too far of a step from the tradition of FootJoy. Roll with the times though. Anyway guys, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on any of the reviews or any of the vlogs that I've got coming out on a weekly basis, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers guys.